Croeso powered to the Halloween PSN sale. This sale ends on the 2nd of November, so you've got plenty of time to pick up these deals. Let's check out the games. The first game we're looking at is Alien Isolation: The Collection. It was released in 2015, so it makes it 5 years old, and right now it's on an 80% discount for a price of £9.59, which is pretty decent considering it includes nearly £35 worth of DLC. Yeah, that's right, the DLC it includes is more than triple the price of the game, which is awesome value. The game is set between the first two Alien movies, where you play Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter. She gets a message saying that the Nostromo flight box has been recovered. So she heads over to the Sevastopol space station to find out what happened to her mother by retrieving the box. And let's cut to the chase, you end up getting stuck on the space station with an alien. This is a survival horror game where you spend most of your time hiding in vents and bodging together makeshift weaponry to fight the alien as it stalks you through the levels. It's very tense, it's very authentic to the original Alien movies. It really looks and feels like the movies you know and love from the iconic movie series. And the DLC included is awesome. It includes the 2 DLC which lets you replay the story of the original Alien movie, playing as Ellen and the other characters from the Nostromo. That DLC looks awesome, to be honest, and if you're a fan of the Alien movies, that DLC being included should sell this package to you instantly. It's a must-buy for you. The rest of the DLC includes a new game mode, salvage mode, and a ton of survival maps and challenge maps, for a total of 7 included DLC packs. If you love survival horror, if you like the Alien movies, you really should pick this up at this price. If you just like survival horror, it's really good and worth a look. And if you're not interested in either, then check out some of the other games in this sale. Let's move on to the next game. Next up, we're looking at a trio of old school games. Devil May Cry: The HD Collection. It was released in 2018, so it was 2 years old, but these games originally came out on PlayStation 2, so they're a fair bit older than that really. So on a 50% discount right now for a price of £12.49, which is towards the higher end of the games I look at in these sales, but considering it includes 3 games and is from a beloved franchise, it's definitely worth looking at. In these games you play Dante. He's a demon hunter looking for revenge for the death of his brother and mother, and the good news is he's half demon himself, which gives him supernatural abilities and powers above a normal human. But more importantly, he can turn into a demon form, which is just flat out cool. This game is all about the combat. It has an amazing combat system which allows you to juggle and combo enemies for massive amounts of score. And every mission you do is given a grade based on how well you done and how stylish your fighting was. So for people that like replaying missions over and over again to get better scores, or that just enjoy really cool fighting systems, this is definitely something you'll enjoy. And the fact that you get the original trilogy means you get a pretty decent complete story as well. All in all, if you fancy being a cool demon hunter and murdering a load of demons in really cool and amazing high combo ways, then you'll have a lot of fun with this game. Next up is an interesting one. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. It was released in 2015, making it 5 years old, and is on a 75% discount right now for a price of £3.99, which is really cheap. This game's a first-person adventure, and is set in a fictional village in the middle of Shropshire, England. The story revolves you waking up and finding yourself alone in the village. All the people have vanished and you don't know where or why, but what you do see are these glowing orbs which contain memories of the people that are missing. And basically you explore the village, find the orbs, and hopefully through finding out things about the people's past and what they were doing, you're hoping to find out what happened to them. It's a pretty laid back game where you just explore a load of areas and get to see some insightful situations in people's lives. With there being an air of religion in it, obvious by the title of the game. Has everybody gone to the Rapture and ascended to heaven? Or have they just vanished mysteriously? There's a nearby scientific laboratory with telescopes as well, which you think may have something to do with it, but you're not sure. I own this game and I've completed it because it was given away ages ago on PlayStation Plus. And I gotta say, even though I wouldn't have bought it, I really enjoyed the game. It's really relaxed and chill, you just wander around, you explore. The fictional village is really cool and interesting, and very authentic to the UK. If you're not from the UK and you want to see what the UK's like, you might find it more interesting because of the location. I would definitely recommend this game for anyone looking for a nice chill game to just relax with, and a bit of a mystery story to explore. All in all, it's really fun, and if you like this sort of game, then you'll know who you are, and you'll know to pick this up for this price because it's really cheap and it's pretty decent. But if you're not a fan of mystery games, or you like a bit more action in your games, then you should move on to one of the other games in this sale. but for the people that would like this, they'll have a lot of fun for £3.99 and it's worth a recommendation for those people. Check it out. You might just have a rapturous time. A more mainstream game is next. Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. It was released in 2017, which makes it 3 years old. It's on a 70% discount right now for a price of £14.39, which is pretty decent considering it's a Game of the Year edition. It includes nearly £55 worth of DLC. That's a ton of DLC. The DLC is worth nearly triple the amount they're asking for the game, and you get the game thrown in as well. Now, what you need to consider when buying this before you listen to anything else is that the base game is included in the PS Plus collection, which is being given away around about the time of the PlayStation 5 launch. Now at the moment, I don't know if you need a PS5 to claim that or not, but if you're planning to get a PS5, you're gonna get the Fallout 4 base game included for free with the PS Plus collection. So you really should be looking at this as a way to get all of the DLC cheaper. But even then it's probably still worth it because the DLC is a load of content for a very low price. The DLC includes story updates and feature updates, adding new features to the game or new items or new ways to play the game as well. This really does offer the complete version of Fallout. And for the 2 people on the planet that don't know what a Fallout game is, you're in a bunker, the apocalypse happens, radiation, boom, wasteland. You come out of the bunker into the remains of humanity. And then it's an open world action RPG where you go on quests, has a main story but there's a lot of side quests and side missions and you get to explore different areas and pretty much do what you want. You can follow the story, you can do side stuff, it's really up to you. And all of the DLC included will just make that a lot more fleshed out and give you way more hours of story and way more things to play with. All in all, it's an awesome deal for this price. But just keep in mind if you're getting a PlayStation 5 and you don't care about the DLC, you're going to get the base game for free. The next game's an indie game from a company I really love, Flippin' Death. It was released in 2018, which makes it 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount right now for a price of £3.99, which is really cheap. It's a puzzle platformer where you play as Penny, who dies and then wakes up to find she's filling in for death temporarily, and she now has the ability to flip between the world of the living and the dead. And basically you're going to use these abilities in the platform puzzling in order to make your way through the story and find out what happened to you, why you're dead and why you're filling in for death. It seems like a pretty cool game. It's got a really cool art style and it's by a game company that I've played a couple of games from and I've really enjoyed the games that they've played. Stick It to the Man, which I think was their first game, I only had because it was given away free on PS Plus, but I played it and I loved it. It was amazing. The sense of humour and the art style really won me over. And more importantly, the gameplay mechanics were amazing in it. So considering this is from a good pedigree, and it's cheap, I would definitely recommend it for anyone that loves puzzle platformers, or quirky little indie games. Definitely worth considering if you like that sort of thing. Our next game is Yotan, Valhalla Edition. It was released in 2016, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount right now for a price of £2.99, which again is pretty cheap. This game is an action-adventure 2D game, where you play Thora, a recently dead Viking lady who has suffered an inglorious death and now must travel across the realms defeating the Yotan, who are giant elemental creatures from Norse mythology, in order to prove her worth to the gods and enter Valhalla. This edition is the Valhalla edition, which includes Valhalla mode, which is a more difficult Ultimate Challenge version of the game. So it's basically a harder difficulty mode more or less. If you like indie adventure games with cool 2D art styles, or you like Norse mythology, this will probably appeal a lot to you. It's well reviewed and well thought after, so it might be worth a look. And at this price you can't go far wrong. Next up, another indie game, Little Nightmares. It came out in 2017, which makes it 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount right now for a price of $3.99, which, like the other games in its sale, is really cheap. In this game you have to confront your childhood fears. You play as Six, a sort of doll-looking character who's trying to escape the Maw, which is a vast mysterious vessel inhabited by corrupted souls looking for their next meal. This game is a horror-themed 3D puzzle platformer that was very well reviewed and loved in general by players and reviewers alike when it was initially released. So I have to say it's highly recommended because the reputation it has is really, really high. If you like creepy horror themes in a game with twisted, dark story elements, you'll really enjoy this. And let's be honest, it's on theme for the Halloween sale, right? So pick up this spooky game and have a spooky time. Neo is our next game. No, not the guy from The Matrix. Neo, the Samurai Souls-like game. It was released in 2017, which makes it 3 years old, and it's on a 50% discount right now for a price of £7.99, which is pretty decent. So, as I just mentioned, the game is a Souls-like action RPG, where you play as William Adams, who's a blonde-haired Irish man, who's based on real history, look him up. In this game, he lives in Japan, and he fights yokai, who are demons from Japanese mythology, alongside, the normal evil people that are out to get you. Since it's a Souls-like game, if you like Dark Souls, or games like Dark Souls, then you'll love this. So it basically comes down to the theme. If you want a Souls-like game but with a Japanese theme and Japanese mythology, along with its demons, then you'll have a lot of fun with this game. If you don't like Souls games, or you're not a fan of Japan, then steer clear of it. But it's definitely a good game and well worth looking at for anyone that's even mildly interested in this genre. Now we have another triple pack for you, the Resident Evil triple pack. Yep, it's literally in the title this time. It was released in 2016, which makes it 4 years old. But again, these games are a remaster, repackage of very old games, so keep that in mind. They're on a 70% discount though for a price of £11.99, which is pretty decent considering you're getting 3 games in this package. The games included are Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6, and although they may not be the original trilogy, the 4th game is very highly thought of, and 5 and 6 aren't bad either. If you used to play the Resident Evil games, but you stopped playing by the time these games came out, or if you've played the recent remasters and you want to see where the games went after that, this is a good option for you to pick these up and see what it was all about. And for those few of you who are wondering what are Resident Evil, there are survival horror games where an evil company called Umbrella released a virus to turn people into zombies, and you play the people trying to stop them. If you're a fan of Resident Evil games and you never played these, there's a lot of content and a lot of fun to be had for this price. And if you're a Resident Evil fan and you did play these and want to revisit them, this is a good opportunity to do that. And they're definitely worth looking at for anyone that likes survival horror games, even if you're not that familiar with Resident Evil. For everyone else, look elsewhere. Another old school game now, Sleeping Dogs The Definitive Edition, is released in 2014, but it's older than that. It's a re-release. It was released in 2014, making it 6 years old, but it's a remaster of an older PS3 Xbox 360 game really, so keep that in mind. But it's on an 85% discount right now for a price of £3.74, which is dirt cheap, because it includes 24 DLCs, including 2 story expansions and a load of other content. This game is basically a GTA rip-off, where you play an undercover cop in Hong Kong, trying to infiltrate the triads and bring them down from the inside. I own this game and I've completed it, and I have to say I love it. It's amazing. If you like GTA games, if you like Hong Kong action movies, this is essential for you, it really is. One of the story expansions is even a rip-off of Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon, where you go to a kung fu tournament on an island. It's awesome. The story in this game's pretty good, the action's great, the kung fu fighting system's amazing, the gunplay is really good as well. There's just so much fun to be had in this game for such a small price. In previous sales, it's even been my star buy. I love it that much. Definitely, for anyone that loves GTA or action games, this is an essential pick. Consider it even if you've never heard of it. Next up is Sundered Eldritch Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £3.99. This game is a 2D Metroidvania platformer with absolutely stunning hand-drawn graphics. It's truly beautiful to look at. This game is themed after Lovecraftian horror elements, where you play as a woman called Escher, who comes across a mysterious ruin and is pulled in against her will. And then the story takes place in the mysterious, ever-shifting underground caverns below the mysterious ruins. This game offers hundreds of upgrades for your character as well, which allowed you to make a ton of builds for it, for different playstyles. It also includes multiple endings, so there's a lot of replayability in this game as well. And as a bonus, it throws in local 4-player co-op, which is really unusual for a Metroidvania game, I have to say. I do like Metroidvania games, and this game looks beautiful, it really does. If you like Metroidvanias, you should give this a go, you really should. It looks awesome, it's got interesting additional features that other Metroidvanias don't have. And if you don't like Metroidvania or platformers, then you know to look elsewhere, but for anyone else, you really should look at this and consider it because it looks beautiful, and I really think it would be a joy to play through it. Next up, another Halloween spook special, The Evil Within, is released in 2014, which makes it 6 years old, and it's on a 50% discount right now for a price of £7.99, which is not bad. This game is a third-person survival horror, where you play a detective who's investigating the scene of a gruesome mass murder at the Beacon Mental Hospital. But you find yourself suddenly thrown into an unreal world after hearing a high-pitched noise, and from that point onwards you don't know whether you're in the real world anymore or some evil hellscape. This game got mixed reviews when it came out because it was hyped before launch, but a lot of people seem to like it, and it seems to be a pretty solid option for survival horror fans. The world you play through in this game is ever changing. There are scripted events where, once you hit them, the world will change around you, opening up new avenues of progression and new paths for you to use. The game really is designed to disorientate you and play on those fears of being lost and trapped within a world you can't control. All in all, I would say if you're a survival horror fan, this is a solid game to consider buying. But if you're not a fan of survival horror, this is a game you should not go near. Another indie game is next, The Unfinished Swan. It was released in 2014, which makes it 6 years old, and it's got a 62% discount right now for a price of £3.79, which is really cheap. This game is a first-person puzzle adventure where you're trapped in a world where everything is white, so you can't see where buildings are, where windows are, where doors are, nothing. But you have the ability to throw orbs of paint around. This paint will splatter on the scenery and reveal what the world really looks like. Basically, it's a first-person puzzle adventure, which I love. I love puzzle adventures. They're amazing. And this is a particularly good one. I had this game for free on PlayStation Plus, and I really loved playing it. I pretty much completed it in 2 sessions, I loved it so much. It's not as good as games like The Witness, but it's a very intriguing and different world with unique puzzle mechanics, and I really enjoyed my time with it. If you love adventure puzzle games, you really should pick this up. And if you're not a fan of puzzle games, then there's really not much in this game for you. The next game is a game I purchased as soon as I seen that it was on sale. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year Edition. It was released in 2016, which makes it 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount right now for a price of £10.49, which is ridiculously cheap. I've only seen it this price once before, and I've never seen it cheaper. This is an awesome price. This version of the game includes 16 DLCs and 2 expansions. The Witcher is a huge game anyway, but with 16 additional DLCs and 2 expansions, it goes from a huge game to a ridiculously huge game. There is so much content in this game, and it's all amazing. Just in case you don't know what sort of game this is, it's a third-person action RPG. So it's open world, you can pretty much go anywhere, do what you want, pick the missions you want, but it has a through story as well. But you're not railroaded into it, you can spend a lot of time on side missions if you want. You play as Geralt, a monster hunter known as a Witcher, and as part of being a Witcher he has some extra abilities that humans don't have, including some super abilities like extra endurance and healing. You have access to magic abilities as well as normal weaponry, along with a cool dialogue system that lets you pick multiple choices in the dialogue. All of this results in one of 36 possible endings, which is huge. That's a ton of replayability if you want to see different endings or outcomes. There's so much in this game you really can't go wrong. I can't recommend this game highly enough. It's from a genre that I love, and it's one of the best in the genre, and this package includes so much DLC that it's the absolute complete edition. Now keep in mind that CD Projekt Red have said that anyone that owns The Witcher or any of their other games gets a free upgrade to the PS5 edition, so if you own this and they stick to their word, then you should be able to pick up the PS5 version of this game for free at some point. This game is essential for any action RPG fans, and for people who haven't played an action RPG, this is an amazing game to get into the genre. Thief is our next game. It was released in 2014, which makes it 6 years old, and it's on a 90% discount right now for a price of £1.59. All I can say is, that makes it my star buy of this sale. I mean, there's more to it, but that's a good reason in itself. This game is a first-person stealth action game, where you primarily want to be stealthy, and then if it comes to it, you can be action-orientated, but it's not the way to go about this game really. You go on a load of missions stealing from the rich. This version of the game includes the Bank Heist DLC, which is kinda crazy considering they included DLC in a game that's on sale for £1.59. I mean, that's ridiculous, £1.59. What else can you get for that? Now don't get me wrong, when this game came out, it was seen as not living up to the legendary status of the original games. But at this price, who cares? It's not a bad game, it's a good game. By a good company, it just may not be as influential as the original legendary games were. If you like first-person stealth games, give it a go. For that price, it's basically free. And if you're in any way interested in it, again, it's so cheap it's basically free, so take a look at it. And if you've got no interest in it, then you might want to buy it anyway because it's still £1.59. I mean, come on, what do I have to say? Okay, don't buy it just for the sake of it, but seriously though, if you've got any interest, pick it up at that price. It's never going to get any cheaper than that. It's the star buy, guys. Enjoy it. Our next game is Watch Dogs 2 Gold Edition. Now be careful because the normal version's on sale as well, and this one's definitely the better value. It was released in 2016, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a huge 80% discount right now for a price of £15.99, which is at the high end of the prices I like to consider for these sales. But it's on this list for a reason. It includes nearly £40 worth of DLC. Yeah, that's right. 2.5 times the price of this game worth of DLC thrown in for free, including 3 story DLC, which is a significant amount of extra content, and a ton of cosmetics on top of that. This game is a sequel, but you don't need to have played the first one to understand it, so it's worth picking up if you haven't played the first one, and it's significantly improved compared to the first as well. In this game you play as Marcus Holloway, who's helping DedSec, who are undercover hackers rebelling against the authority. This game is a third-person open-world game. Like GTA, you're in an entire city, this time in the San Francisco Bay Area, but the differences between this game and games like GTA is that you've got a host of hacking abilities that you can use. You can fly drones, you can hack security cameras, you can do all sorts of cool stuff like that, which makes this game really different and unique. You can do things like in a car chase pull bollards out of the ground to stop the cops being able to chase you, or change the traffic light colours so the cars come across and hit the people chasing you. So there's not just guns and those sorts of things like in other games. There's so many different options in this game, it's crazy. And it's kind of cool, let's be honest. The first game of this, when it came out, was hyped so much and was kind of a disappointment relative to the hype. And then when this second one came out, it wasn't as successful because the hype had sort of backlashed against it from the first game. But this sequel is thought of way better than the first one, and it was so highly reviewed when it came out. This game is infinitely superior to the first one, and really deserves to have been played by more people. If you like open world games like GTA, pick this up. If you're unsure, consider it, because there's a lot of DLC and a lot of story included, and it's very different and unique. Another spooky game next, Zombie Army Trilogy, is released in 2015, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount right now for a price of £8.99, which is really good, especially considering it includes all 3 games. These games are a third-person shooter, set in World War II, where everyone's turned into zombies. It's designed to be played with 4-player online co-op, so it's kind of like a Left 4 Dead alternative. There are 3 campaigns included in this, 1 for each game, with a total of 15 levels, so 5 levels in each campaign, 3 campaigns, 15 levels. It also includes a horde mode with 5 maps, for extra gameplay options. And more uniquely than that, it includes 3D TV support, so if you've got a 3D TV, then that's a cool feature, even if it is a little bit niche these days. Although it does make me wonder whether that would work in a PlayStation VR headset, because if it did, that would be a cool selling point. Basically, if you're looking for a game to play with your friends, like Left 4 Dead, then this is a good option. It's fun, polished, and a good price for 3 of them, it really is. Take a look at it. It might be worth your time and money. And our final game is Zombie Vikings. It was released in 2015, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £2.37, which is really, really cheap. This game is a brawler with RPG elements, so it supports 4-player offline and online co-op, with 25 levels across 8 different worlds, and 5 versus arenas thrown in as a bonus. So in this game you play zombies who are Vikings, and you brawl your way through the world. It's pretty simple, but it's fun. It's from that niche studio I mentioned earlier that did Flippin' Death, so the humour in this is awesome and it's got the same quirky art style. They also included over 40 weapons for you to use in the campaign, so there's a bit of variety with the weapon usage as well. All in all, if you're a fan of old school brawlers, it's a pretty decent option for you. Now I do own this and I haven't played it that much, but it's a decent game and a load of fun if you've got people who want to play it with you. If you've never played a brawler, you might want to try this, but there are better options around that aren't on sale right now, so it's really up to you whether you want to take a risk on it or not. So that's all the games I have for you from the Halloween PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Do you think I missed some games that I should have included? Do you think I picked rubbish games? What do you think of my star buy? Do you think one of the other games deserve to be star buy more? Throw all your complaints in the comments and we'll argue about it later. I hope you guys find some games you have a lot of fun with, but more importantly, I hope you save yourselves a lot of money. Take care guys, have a nice Halloween and look after yourselves out there. I'll see you guys in the next sale.